Hello and welcome. I'm so incredibly thrilled you're here today. Now, if you've ever looked at state bureaucratic processes and thought they seemed like an impossible, confusing maze, well, you are absolutely in the right place. Notaries are the essential, in-demand fraud fighters of our legal system. And you can consider this explainer your ultimate decoder ring to becoming one. We're going to take all those dense statutes, rules, and requirements for the state of Nebraska and transform them into a really clear, straightforward path.
Are you ready to unlock a new career opportunity and become a notary public in Nebraska? Stay with us as we break down the entire process step by step so you can confidently begin your notary journey today.
Okay, let's dive into this. We've got a highly structured roadmap for you. We'll be looking at eligibility requirements, the application process, essential supplies, notary duties, conduct and liability, and finally, the renewal process.
Let's start with Section 1, Eligibility Requirements, the foundation.
Knowing the baseline rules right out of the gate is going to save you a ton of time and frustration later on. Interestingly enough, the very first requirement is that you must be at least 19 years old. Why 19? Well, because that's actually the age of majority in Nebraska, which makes it a full year older than the requirement in most neighboring states. You also need to be a U.S. citizen or a qualified alien, and you've got to be able to read and write English. Now, for residency, you generally must live in Nebraska, but there is a catch. If you live in a bordering state but maintain a regular place of work or business right there in Nebraska, you're good to go. And finally, you cannot have a felony conviction or any conviction for a crime involving fraud or dishonesty within the last 5 years.
Moving right along to Section 2, the application process, the initiation phase.
Right off the bat, I want to note that paper filings are officially a thing of the past in Nebraska. Everything is digital now. And the absolutely crucial point here is this number, 85%. Before you even think about touching an application, you have to pass the Nebraska Notary exam. It's administered completely online through a platform called ClassMarker. It's a 20-question, open-book test based on the state's statutes and regulations. You've got to score an 85% or better to proceed, and they give you 3 attempts. A quick pro tip for you. Take your time and keep the state handbook open in another tab or even print it out right next to you, just to avoid any silly mistakes. Once you pass, you'll get a digital certificate that's valid for 90 days. From there, you just follow a strict 3-step linear path. Step 1, like we just talked about, is passing that exam. Step 2 is purchasing a 4-year, $15,000 surety bond. And remember, this bond protects the public, not you, from any errors you might make. Step 3 is the actual online application. But listen up, because there's a very specific sequence here. Before you apply, you must sign the oath of office that is printed on your surety bond, and you have to sign it in the literal physical presence of an already commissioned notary public. Just to ground this all in reality, this is what the official paperwork structure from the Nebraska Secretary of State actually looks like. Once your bond is notarized, you're going to create an account on the Secretary of State's online notary portal. That's where you'll fill out your application, pay a $30 state filing fee, and upload the digital PDF of your exam passing certificate, right along with your signed and notarized surety bond. Oh, and if you happen to be a non-resident who just works in Nebraska, you'll also upload your evidence of employment form right there as well.
Next up, Section 3, Essential Supplies, your toolkit.
Let's talk about the financial side of unlocking this career, because honestly, the transparency here is great. It is highly accessible. You've got your $30 state fee, the $15,000 bond, which generally runs around $30 to $50 for the entire 4 years, maybe a couple of bucks to get your oath notarized, and about $30 for your physical stamp. You can easily order that stamp from authorized online vendors or even local office supply stores. So you're really looking at an estimated out-of-pocket total of just over $100 to kickstart this whole journey. Not bad at all, right?
Now, what do you actually need to buy? By law, you are required to have an ink stamp seal, and it absolutely must contain 4 specific elements. It needs your name exactly as commissioned, the words State of Nebraska, the words General Notary or General Notarial, and your commission expiration date. You can get an embosser if you like that classic raised seal look, but it is strictly optional and it cannot be used by itself. Finally, we have the Notary Journal. Now, Nebraska law doesn't explicitly mandate that traditional notaries keep a journal. However, the Secretary of State strongly recommends it. A journal tracks the date, the signer, the ID used, and the document type. It is your absolute best defense and a critical shield against personal liability if a notarization of yours is ever called into question.
Trust me, you want one.
Moving on to Section 4, Notary Duties, Wielding the Power.
So once you had that ink stamp in your hand, what are you actually doing day to day? Imagine a neighbor brings over a car title transfer that needs to be made official. Your core role involves administering oaths and affirmations, taking acknowledgments of instruments like that car title, and attesting documents. But the absolute bedrock of a traditional notarization is physical presence and identity verification. You literally must look at a government-issued ID, look at the actual person in front of you, ensure they are who they say they are, and watch them sign the document right there in your physical presence. You are acting as an impartial witness to prevent fraud.
Which leads us perfectly into Section 5, Conduct and Liability, Protecting Yourself.
When you hold a position of public trust, there are very strict rules about how you must behave to protect that trust and to protect your own commission. Proper acts require absolute impartiality and physical presence, while acts of malfeasance, those can get your commission permanently revoked. Let's make this super tangible. You cannot legally notarize a document for your spouse, your children, your parents, or your siblings. Why? Because you have a potential personal or financial interest in those documents. It completely violates your impartiality. Furthermore, you can never predate or postdate a notarization, and you must never, ever notarize the document that contains blank spaces. Just don't do it.
Finally, we reach Section 6, the renewal process, staying active.
So how do you keep this hard-earned credential active over the long haul? A Nebraska notary commission lasts exactly 4 years. Here is what you absolutely must remember. There is zero grace period. None. If your commission expires even by a single day, you have to start the entire process over. And yep, that includes retaking the test. To renew properly, you have to purchase a new $15,000 bond, take a brand new oath, and submit your renewal application along with the $30 fee through the online portal, specifically within the 30-day window right before your expiration date.
So, we've walked through the exam, the bond, the application, the supplies, and the strict rules of conduct. The big question is, are you ready to become an essential guardian of public trust in Nebraska? If you're ready to step up and take on the responsibility, don't hesitate to tap into the state's official resources and take that first confident step toward your certification today.
This explainer is for informational purposes only and does not constitute legal advice. Please consult official Nebraska state resources or legal counsel for specific guidance tailored to your situation.